whole life. And then I named my daughter Lily, and my mom said, you know, that's your grandma's name. I said, I thought her name was Tig. No, she said, that's her little girl's name. She's always tigging up her hair. And, but I remember when I told my grandma I was going into movies, and I wasn't having very much success, and one day I came home, and this was after about 3 or 4 years, you know, not bringing a check. I still worked. I worked on fishing boats, drove trucks, framed houses, did that kind of thing. But my grandma looked at me, and she loved me, and she was a little gangster. She was married at 14 to my grandpa, and they loved each other till the day they died. And she looked at me and she said, I wish that old George Burns would just die. I said, she goes, no one wants to see him, he's just dusty. And I said, Grandma, we don't go up for the same parts. And she goes, you don't? And I said, no. And if you don't mind, just this feels like home to me a little bit. I'll tell you one more story about it. Is that all right? So when I finally did pass old George Burns, I was in this movie called Silverado. And my grandma went to see it, and I asked her how she thought I was, and she said, okay, good, really good. And I asked her a few more questions about some little scenes that I did, and she didn't remember those. And then she went back to see it again, and I said, you like it? She goes, I liked it more than I liked it the first time. I said, well, what about that little thing I did there? And she said, I don't remember that. And she probably went to see that film about 4 more times, and I always had the same problem, which is when I asked her about some little cute thing that I did that she was supposed to respond to that she didn't know. And I said finally to my dad, I said, hey, Tiggs, I think Grandma's kind of losing it. And he goes, what do you mean? I go, well, she doesn't remember the scene. He goes, Kevin, she just goes to the show. She doesn't look what time it starts. She just knows she wants to see her grandson. She goes, she sits down. If she sees 10 minutes of it, that's what she sees, and she goes home. She never thought about, you know, going to the beginning, seeing it to the end. She just wanted to check in. So if you remember now with all these stories what this song is about, this is about being 90 miles down the road. This is about, you know, so the people that love you, don't worry. By the time they catch up, that's where you're at. And that's why I went back to music.